Welcome to the Game Corner, another video game podcast. My name is Harrison. You might know me online as Ixen, and I am joined by my friend
Rowan. You may know me as Mocha on pretty much just Discord and video games, and I am, pretty thoroughly freaking out about San Diego next week.
I was gonna say we were talking a little bit before we started recording about what we're gonna go through topic wise for this episode. And I did forget to bring up San Diego is like next weekend.
Yeah.
So let's jump into that.
That is going to be a flight. Yeah, I guess it's not what we're planning to talk about for the whole
Not
thing.
at all.
But yeah. So, oh my God. So yeah, it's the first regional of the season, and it's the biggest regional ever, I believe.
I think that number is true.
I think that's what I've heard, at least. I have not verified that myself, but like over 600 people anyway, which is insane. Like, for reference, I'm pretty sure the one I went to last time was like 150 people, but yeah, it's...
That's right. You went to Secaucus.
Yeah,
you've been to a regional before.
I have been to a regional before. I'd like to do as well at this one as the last one, but we'll see on that. I'm just getting those jitters right beforehand, or I'm like, oh no, I have a couple of bad matchups that I only win sometimes, and I think every team has that. I need to just slap myself. I'm just getting that urge to like, oh no, last minute switch, but use the thing you're comfortable with.
I won't give any of it away, but we've been talking, in Discord or whatever, in our private channels, and you've been brewing this team that you've been working on for like a couple weeks now, I think, right? It's been. I think the one I copied. Okay, so it started as a direct copy of someone else who did really well. And then I've been tweaking it over time to the point that it barely resembles it anymore. Sure.
Which is, I guess, how that kind of thing works. But yeah, no, it's been iterating for a bit. This is probably the first time that I've like taken things seriously with a team that is like pretty much entirely my own. But
nice.
Yeah, it either goes well or it doesn't. I put in the time now, so if it goes badly, then whatever. You can't help it.
You've put in so much practice with this team, so you should definitely switch the Friday before you leave. Okay. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's literally it. It's just nerves, and get over it. Actually, the other thing that's awful is that so there was a post put out, and I don't know how official it is, but I know it's accurate. Basically telling us to like buckle up for the worst experience of our lives because so biggest regional ever, and apparently Scarlet and Violet was not coded with competitive in mind. There are no locked battle boxes. You have to use you have to use the union room to match with each other, and dozo mirrors. Oh my God. So I'm sorry to everyone else. I am bringing Don Dozo to San Diego. And so those are rough on Showdown, where it can go like 20, 30 turns sometimes. On Cart, it is miserable to see, like, even just when you swap in Tatsugiri and it jumps into Dozo's mouth, and then you see the boosts, like it does the Omni boost.
It's so long.
Attack sharply raised, special attack sharply raised, and you just see that forever, and it's awful.
Yeah, this is gonna be absolutely wild.
I have a plan for the mirror that isn't just lock in one whale against the other one, but the real thing is that because there's so many players, I think there's 10 rounds of Swiss.
I was gonna say there's over 600, so you have to have double digits of Swiss, which is not fun.
Yeah, it's top 32 cut, so
okay.
Like they don't have to narrow it down as far as usual. Like for reference, Secaucus was a top 8 cut,
right?
But it's still going to be a lot. They said you literally may not leave we estimate that people won't leave the venue. If you play all your matches, we estimate you won't leave the venue till 1 a.m. And it starts at 9 a.m. And on top of that, they are 3 hours before us, ahead of us on the West Coast, which means that to me, it starts at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm going to go land at the airport, get to my hotel. It's going to be like 6 or 7, and I'm just going to eat like 10 melatonin, try to go to bed at an absurdly early hour, wake up in advance and just chug Monster.
Yeah, and on a pseudo related note, I used to like depend on melatonin, and I haven't for a long time. I had like 2.5 basically milligrams of melatonin the other night, and I did not wake up. I was like, this is absurd. So be careful with that if
Yeah,
that's
well,
actually your strategy.
if I do it at like 8 p.m., I think I should be fine.
That might be true. Anyway, yeah. So we also haven't talked offline about our recording for next week. So now we're really off topic. That's great. So we have. Oh no! I guess we have one more episode before San Diego. So we'll see how that actually shakes out. Because obviously this episode's late. So sorry, y'all who depend on us being on time with our episodes. Our diehard fans. All three of you, thank you so much. Yes. No, we've been. I mean, we were talking for the last couple of days trying to get line up schedules, and for those of you who play D&D or any tabletop RPG like that, you know how hard it is to get a party together. It's not much easier with three of us, and holidays and everything going along too. So, it is what it is. So we have another episode for the new year and then San Diego, but I'm super excited to see how that goes for you.
Yeah,
hopefully well.
I'm excited too. I mean, there will be Orlando a month later, so if it goes badly, I'll dust myself off pretty quickly.
So I'm excited because Orlando will be my in-person debut.
There you
but
go.
Also,
man.
Series 2 or 1, who knows? We'll see.
That's actually going to be a really hard thing to say because I think Series 1 ends like literally
the
as
day
Orlando.
Before.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I think Series 2 is the day before.
There's no
So
way it'll have to be Series 1. Like, maybe if they tell us in advance, but
it has to be like soon. Registration's not open yet. Like I'm hoping we get registration like January 2nd or something, like next week.
I am subscribed to notifications from Overload events to see like when that actually opens up. Yeah,
I should do that, and also yell at me when that happens. We'll post it in our Discord link down below, and also we'll share it on Twitter probably too. But all that stuff. Anyway, none of that. All of the last 5 minutes of conversation was not planned for today's episode. Today is our end of year episode. Because it is, if you check your calendars, the end of the year. So obviously, this podcast is not a year old, but I think it is still worth it to look back on 2022. That's what year this is. And just kind of think of some, like, reminisce on some of our favorite moments. And for those of you who give us, crap for not being a video game podcast, despite it being the title, I'll have words for you offline, but also we're going to talk about other video games too in the B segment. I don't know, second half of this episode. But lots of things Pokemon happened this year. Lots and lots of things happened for Pokemon this year. We've had 2 game releases. Because
I think
BDSP was
kicked
last
off.
year.
Arceus kicked off 2022 effectively, right?
Yes, that was in January, February, one of those.
I almost forget it happened. I was looking back at like some gameplay footage of it. It doesn't like I don't know. It doesn't really look any better or worse than Scarlet and Violet, and it runs so smooth. I'm a little like reminiscing when it was easier to run around an open world.
It's a smaller world with less going on. To be fair,
if you joined all the zones together, would it be smaller?
I don't know. I was trying to think about that the other day when people were talking about it. Like, I'm wondering if the zones in Arceus were like the size of the like western, eastern, southern, northern like provinces, like those the 5 areas, whatever, that make that up.
They were reasonably big in their own right, but also part of it was that you were afraid of getting murdered when you like went too far in one direction, whereas this is like you can just kind of zoom like. Stuff isn't that aggressive. You can kind of zoom past it.
That's very true. I don't know. I imagine someone's done the like walking simulator math of like if you walk from the longest end to the longest end and you do figure out what's they've done that. So I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if it was close though.
Yeah. I thought Arceus, like, people are kind of dumping on it now that we have Scarlet and Violet, and I admit that I kind of dropped it after I was done with the story because, like, I don't know, I'm not the kind of person to like completionist RPGs that are single player anymore. I'll see the credits and I'll enjoy the big combat system and then I'm done. And like the combat system is definitely like the Pokemon main series combat system is so good, and there's a reason that we all play a game that is just effectively the same game over and over again because the system is so cool and you can do so many things with it. But so obviously it's worse than that. But like the actual core gameplay loop, I really liked it. I miss my first single player run through that. I think I actually might have had a little more fun with that than I did like the Scarlet and Violet single player.
I mean, the cool thing for Arceus, Arceus, whichever pronunciation of
depends.
God you like.
Yeah, it depends if you're British. Apparently,
It
was originally Arceus, and then they realized that arse is how they say ass in England, and they're like, we have to change this.
Is that really
That's literally it? Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. Mainly because I thought it was Arceus for the longest time, and then like I just heard Arceus so much.
It was.
I'm like, is it supposed to be Arceus?
That
like,
was it for the longest time.
It also have like the Rayquaza thing, right? Which side of the fence are you on for that one?
I always said Rayquaza as a kid, but I've heard Rayquaza so many times that it's just how I say it now as an adult.
I'm with you, and that's how I was with Arceus. But I will go back to Arceus for.
You should not consult Child Rowan for how to pronounce things, though. So like that's like there was like how did you manage to pronounce the legendary beasts correctly as a kid, like Entei, Raikou, Suicune? Nobody I knew. Nobody I knew did it. We had like Suicune or Suicune or like nobody knew how to do it because until we saw Stadium, I think was it.
Oh, so I got it. So my first games growing up were actually Gen 3. For the first games I played. I grew up with the anime, and then like the cards were just there. I didn't play, but had them. But I grew up with the anime, so I heard it first that way.
Okay.
That helped, but I still said Raikou instead of Raikou.
That might also be right. I don't actually know.
Someone correct us in the comments down below. Anyway, so yeah, I forget. Arceus. Yeah, the gameplay was super cool. It was a nice departure from the normal mainline games, or standard main, or whatever you want to. You know what we're saying. It was a nice departure.
It was baby's first Souls, like honestly, like to a large degree with like the dodges and all that.
I'll grant you that. Yeah, I don't think I thought about that. Or at least I haven't thought about it in many months,
more specifically, baby's first Elden Ring. Like I know Elden Ring is a
Souls-like,
but it is an open. But it was like the whole
Elden
innovation.
Ring is coming up in the second half of this episode.
But the whole point of it was that it was open world, Dark Souls, right, or Demon Souls.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's that one.
And this was like it was open world, and you had dodge rolling with iframes. That makes it a Souls-like, as far as I know.
Yeah, that can be argued either way, but yes, you're not. I'll give you that. Someone could see that. I'm that person. I can see it.
We were talking about the size of the world. I think that just the fact that it was I don't know. It made you respect the what could be around each corner a lot. So you ended up like creeping through it and seeing like each new thing. And when you see like a giant monster roar at you, like the Rapidash was actually kind of horrifying in like the beginner zone and all that. It doesn't really change much from that. I remember like creeping around the alphas that were like 40 levels higher than me that you're not supposed to fight till way later in the game, but they're in the beginning zones.
It was so much fun to see them, to be like, wow, look, I'm gonna like again round this corner, look around this tree, look in this clearing, and suddenly there's a giant version of Pokemon that's several levels higher than anything you have.
Yeah, I will say that like it just makes it impressive that like Scarlet and Violet is so okay. I saw a glitch. It is a glitch. It's a movement glitch in Scarlet and Violet that's actually useful for once, and it's if you jump off of a really high point with your mount, start gliding, drop, and turn your stick completely perpendicular, and then start gliding again, you somehow and you have to boost off the cliff, I think. I can't remember the exact details, but anyway, it allows you to conserve or even gain momentum through the air, and people can zoom across the entire map. Like
that's pretty cool.
Way faster than they can even normally boost on land. And you never lose altitude. Like the thing that stops you is you just hitting the wall beyond the ocean. And it's what I took away from that is that it means that the game is holding the entire world like either in memory at once or at least is able to load it in memory fast enough that it can like, be there for you. There's no load screens as you zoom across the world like that. It's not like doing a God of War with like a corridor loading kind of thing. So
That's a good point.
I mean, maybe that's not smart, but it was kind of cool. Like they do have a world the size of all of Arceus, like all available at once.
Which has its ups and downs, as we've all seen.
Yeah, maybe that's not intelligent when you're using a Switch, but it is cool.
I saw someone post something about how Scarlet and Violet run super smooth, super well on a slightly overclocked Switch.
Yeah, which
Dang it.
people were saying that the theory might be that they were intending to release it on like a Switch successor that never came.
That's just never coming. I saw
Probably not. I think the current rumor mill is that they actually did have a Switch Pro in the works, and now it's just not till next gen.
Yeah, so I heard the next gen rumor too. Who knows if that's true or not? We're not saying one way or the other, or at least I'm not.
No.
I would like to see something though, something announced, especially with Tears of the Kingdom coming out soon. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was Arceus. That was like the first big thing of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of fun. I hope they make another one of that. Like you want to do like one in Ancient Unova, that would be cool. And then the other big thing after that, I guess, would just be Series 12 as a whole. Like I think everybody's still a little PTSD'd out on it.
We were doing so good at going multiple episodes without mentioning Series 12. Like we did in the early days of this podcast.
I'm sorry. I'm pulling it back.
Slight tear, man.
I think everybody's still a little traumatized from all that Zacian, but like it was the longest running format in Sword and Shield. Yep. I think it went 8 months, if I recall, something along those lines.
It was 6 or 8 was one of the two.
Yeah.
Series 14's here too. You want to go play that?
We don't talk about Series 14. Nobody played that. No, I mean, just the fact that there was such, like, we never got to see a meta develop until that point. And the closest we had
Not with
was,
that maturity.
Yeah. The closest we had was Series 7 and 9, which collectively added up to, I think, 4 or 5 months.
I think I think those two together is 6 as well.
It was the first one was 2, the second one might have been 3.
Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah, the formats back when we didn't have, like, when we still had stuff coming out were only 2.
Sounds right, actually, when you say it out loud.
But yeah, I mean that was it's not a whole ton to say, to be honest. Like we've
also beaten it to the ground. To go listen to our other episodes, give us more views.
If you weren't here for it, it was a lot of Zacian and Kyogre and Groudon.
Yeah, which is just that was the landscape there. That's all.
There were some horses too. The horse won Worlds.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Charizard didn't win Worlds, which is very funny.
Yeah, so I mean, and then we had the first Worlds in 3 years.
Worlds, yeah, we didn't talk about Worlds in our.
Yeah,
our
I mean that's kind of part of Series 12 too, right? Is that we we were in a post people pretending that COVID exists. I guess that's not the way to word that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
The age when people pretended COVID didn't exist anymore. There we go.
Go on. I'm not gonna do that calculus in my head.
Yeah, it was. We entered the point where people just decided to go congregate in large groups together again for whatever reason.
There it is.
That's just where we are now. So yeah, I mean, just the first live events in 3 years is pretty crazy. The only ones in Sword and Shield, despite the games being out for inactive for probably longer than I think any gen before that. Because BDSP never became a format, right? So
correct.
It was just Swish all the way through.
Yes, so Swish all the way through. I don't know how long Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon were, so...
Yeah, because I mean, you had Sun and Moon, and those are the only Gen 7 games, huh? But I think those were a switch over, right? Like there were different formats between them.
That sounds right. That was before my competitive time.
Yep, same.
So someone who's a historian, let us know.
Yeah, but like Gen 6 had the Gen 3 remakes in there, and Oris actually became a format. So that's
I was gonna say
the
Oris,
kind of thing
but
we never had before.
That sounds everything you just said sounds right. But yeah, so correct. I think this is up there in length at least.
Yeah. So we had that, and then like Series 13 was the only format to ever have mythicals,
which was really cool. And then it was really interesting to see how they were barely used.
Yeah,
the
really
unfortunate thing. Candle. too.
The unfortunate thing was that it was also where you were allowed to use as many restricteds as you want. Like
Yeah.
they may have even had a spot in if you added them to like a 2 restricted format, like 12. Like
I can see that. I can see that being different.
they may have had an impact there. They definitely would have had one on like Series 9 if it was no restricteds at all.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of sad to see that. I think the whole thing boiled down to like you can get a ribbon on your Mew now, like and enjoy that, I guess.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was a exciting thing that they finally let happen after 25 years or whatever. So, and then after Series 13, we had Series 14, but no one talks about that. So we had Scarlet and Violet's release, and of course Series 1 came along with that.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Scarlet and Violet for the last couple of weeks, of course, since they're 5 weeks old now, if that. Oh no, 6 weeks old. And then the format is even younger because that came out 2 weeks after, so that's 5. That is actually 4 weeks old. But the new gimmick, Terrestrialization, came out. That is, I was looking at VGC Twitter earlier today, and people were just having varying opinions of Terrestrialization. I've seen a lot of
I actually
positives.
see people are starting to pine for Dynamax again. I called it. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
not everyone. Obviously, a lot of people still didn't like it, and that's totally fair. But I was like, I knew it. I knew you guys were just mad, like, because it was the current thing.
Yep. But people both pining for Dynamax to come back, or I saw someone, I forget who it was, so someone in the community was like, I'm so used to Dynamax that I expect when I terrestrialize that I don't get faked out or something. And I'm like, that's fair. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
You click the big button and you're immune to stuff. That's how it works.
That's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
No.
So I'm gonna say, I never thought I'd see the day that people were actually like wanting Sword and Shield graphics back again, but
that is pretty funny.
But it's happening, and I guess so. I had only been playing Scarlet and Violet on Showdown for the longest time, and I finally got my team made on cart. So I have been playing on cart. It's really bad. It's actually really truly awful looking. The camera angle's completely fixed. The jokes about like the 2 cloned grandmas, that's factual. Like every game you are stuck in the schoolyard arena. You never get to go to any of the cool like gyms or whatever that you fought in. And
were the gyms, because like I've seen some VGC videos on YouTube, whatever, of gyms, and that was back when we were doing Wi-Fi battles or
unranked
battles, whatever.
Unranked had you in the restaurant gym, I think.
That's right. Okay.
And ranked is in the schoolyard. I don't know why. And the schoolyard has just the 2 cloned grandmas like really going at it, cheering.
One thing that Swish did well is they made Pokemon battles with sport. A real sport in universe.
The stadium was so cool, and I think that like even the people who didn't like it all said like, yeah, the first time that I did a gym battle and you have like the chants, and especially like the song goes
so
on during
cool.
Dynamax, it's hype. Like it is a spectacle. It's really cool to see. I think Scarlet and Violet is a way better game. Like if you reduce it down to the meta game, like if you were just gonna play on Showdown, I'd rather play Scarlet and Violet than Sword and Shield any day of the week. But I'm missing Gen 8 too, just for how it looked.
Yeah, I can see that. I can appreciate that. Here's, crossed fingers, here's hoping that when something comes out patch-wise or DLC-wise, they add a second location.
A second one even. That would be fantastic. Not like the last gen.
A third grandma.
That's next gen. We gotta wait for the next Switch before we get a third grandma, I think.
That might be true. That might be the 3 grandmas might be too much for the little Tegra chip in the Switch.
But yeah, there were so many stadiums. I mean, I know a lot of them were like kind of recolors of each other, but you had like the ones from the expansions and the battle tower and all that. They looked really good.
But I think what you said earlier a few minutes ago, I think the correct way to say it is it was a spectacle.
Yeah.
It was they made something of it. I think that was really cool back in Swish. I didn't realize, because I've not been doing a whole lot on cart. I've been mostly Showdown when I get a chance to grind anything, practice anything. I did not realize that you are stuck on the playground at the school.
Like the World Championships are gonna still have that grandma jumping
And that
jumping
fixed
her
camera
heart out.
angle.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you can't even see your own Pokemon. Sometimes it'll shoot through the floor, like the floor will disappear.
I mean, I know. Did you see that video? You saw that video, right?
Oh yeah.
Of my thing?
No,
That's
I
my
actually never
bug.
watched that. Hold up.
You need to go watch that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna see this after. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so when I talked about it with Little Root, because I was thinking the week it happened. But when you can't see anything, it's great because you know the blue background that you get for Poke Portal.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw that
During a battle?
during a battle. It was during the Victory Road tournament a couple weekends ago. It was just that and some text, and then sometimes the Pokemon stat block because it like fades, like it's gone sometimes for some of the animations.
Did you have to like give up the round? Did they let you replay it?
So it was my first matchup too. So that was really upsetting, and I was slightly tilted from then on. But I reported to the judges, but I did not request any score changes or anything because I think at that point, like, my opponent was playing well anyway.
Yeah, they were probably gonna win the game.
So I think they're gonna win because like I was really messing up some matchups because I just took a rental into the tournament.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, fine, it's okay. But also, judges, you need to know this is a thing because this sucks. So I like during the downside between rounds 1 and 2, because I was streaming too, so I recorded it, streamed it. I stopped the recording, like cut it down, put it on YouTube real quick. So it's up on the channel. I think 2 or 3 videos before this one, this current episode. You can go find it. It's poorly edited because I did it real fast. So it's like a 7-minute video, and I think like a minute and a half in is when you see it. But it's just bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I claim that bug. That's my bug. You can call that Rose bug because I didn't see it before I saw it.
I still haven't seen that. That's awful. That's the other thing that why San Diego is probably gonna take a long time is these games are held together with bubble gum, duct tape, and popsicle sticks
And dreams.
Like, yeah, maybe some dreams in there. I don't know. So like, great time single player. I suspect there's going to be a lot of people who have to replay their matches.
And for San Diego,
God help us if that's like 20 turns into a Dozo mirror and something happens.
And for San Diego being as big as it is, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be some really dumb bugs or something show up because just the numbers are there.
And the thing is, like, because it's so big, championship points are awarded pretty far down. I think you can get championship points if you finish like even top, like it's either 64 or maybe even 120. Don't quote me on that. It's at least 64.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people will get CP from it. So that means even if you're knocked out early, like normally you'd think that this would be hurried along by the fact that some people would be knocked out early and then they'll just say, okay, I've lost 2, I'm going home. And I'm sure some people will do that. But a lot of people are going to say, okay, I've lost my 2. I'm going to keep playing because if I end up with a decent record, I will still potentially get points to go to Worlds. And a little bit of news is that Worlds lowered their threshold to 300 this year.
That was the news I was talking about.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah.
Oh, we have the CP thresholds for Worlds now.
I mean, it's not a like they lowered it from 400 to 300. If you aren't super familiar with competitive Pokemon, you earn championship points for doing well in tournaments, even locals, a small amount, and you usually need several hundred to qualify to go to Worlds. It was 400 last year, and this year it's 300, which is interesting because there's more live events and there's going to be locals and mid-season showdowns. So that's strange. You'd think that maybe even raise it.
Yeah, it'll be great when locals come back. Boy, I hope I can find that on the website here soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's apparently not supposed to be for several months, but like...
Oh, really? Several months?
Like
I thought it was coming back in January, February.
March or something? That's what I heard. I could be wrong.
Oh, gosh, that's disgusting. Okay.
But the theory I've heard, which I think holds up, is that a lot of people apparently didn't go to London despite qualifying because London's very expensive.
Sure.
Not to get to and to exist in for any amount of time.
Sure.
So, and Japan is, I would say, like at least like it's not in Tokyo, but it's fairly close to Tokyo, and the price
it's like maybe 30 minutes south of Tokyo.
So the price is kind of they carry over. It's no cheaper than London and more expensive to get to. So I think what they suspect is that a lot of people are going to end up like qualifying but not going. And so they want to have that buffer of like, okay, we'll let more people qualify so that we definitely have a full event.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
That might bite them if everybody goes, but
Yeah, they got to be ready for it. There's other CP. I was trying to find it real quick, but I can't because I am slow. But there's other thresholds for other regions. The 300, I think, is United States and Europe. I gotta find it. I don't know where it went. Championship points. Aha. Wait. This is entirely not helpful. Okay, I'll try and poke around to find that. Maybe a link below if I can't find it during the episode. But go online, find it. If you're not in the United States, find what that CP bar is. I just know that I am aiming for that 300, and I'll see you in Yokohama. Maybe we'll see.
Hope so. Yeah. I was gonna say, but yeah, I guess that mostly is that it for Scarlet and Violet.
I think it covers
obviously
Pokemon.
There's a lot for Scarlet and Violet, but we've been talking about that for weeks now. So
yeah, I mean, trying to hit some highlights, and I think as far as Pokemon and 2022 goes, I think that's just kind of the overall highlights.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff we talked about, we have numerous episodes on. So
I think when we look back at this gen, this last year, really, like Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, it'll be like the year that Pokemon pivoted. It'll be a lot like 2014 when X and Y came out. Like in retrospect, X and Y were pretty lackluster entries. Like they were really like offensively easy even for Pokemon, and
sure,
the world was kind of like it's super linear. But it was the first fully 3D game, and I think that was a massive shift for the series, and this open world shift is maybe even bigger. So like, yes, it isn't great looking, but this is the first time, like this is them going in a new direction. This is them passing it off to a new guard of developers, for better or worse. I think we'll hopefully see more polished versions of what we got this year.
I 100% agree. I mean, hopefully, if they can do, if the next game, so if we're looking forward past the pivot of this year, the next game, Gen 10, or even if they do remakes in the same vein as Scarlet and Violet, if it goes on a next gen console, if that comes to fruition,
if it goes on a console that is comparable to current gen consoles, it'll be great.
Absolutely.
Give me Pokemon on a PS4, and I think it'll still be really nice.
That's fair.
We'll probably have the PS6 by then, but it's okay. But yeah, like when in Sword and Shield, I think people wanted more than Sword and Shield was. I think like the wild area, just as whether you liked the trees or not, the wild area as a concept was not enough. And it took away from the main routes, which also made them not enough compared to previous gens. But like,
I can agree with that.
If you give me Scarlet and Violet called something else in a different configuration, but it looks and runs better, I'll be super happy with that for like at least 3 more gens. And maybe after that start looking at other stuff. But
yeah, I think I can follow suit with that. I think I can agree.
Anyway, so you're right. That's Pokemon for 2022. But there were other video games that people may or may not have played, probably.
Yeah. If you go all the way back into the annals of time and listen to our pilot episode, we did talk about other video games at one time.
I complain about this every episode, and anybody who listens to us.
Yeah.
I complain about it, and then I only talk about VGC. So
I was gonna say
that's how I do things.
It's part of the problem. But we play other video games, and other people play other video games. Mind blowing. So we wanted to. This is the time of year, end of year. People talk about like Game of the Year. You had the Game Awards earlier this month. You have different video game coverage YouTubers, channels, whatever, talking about these are the best games. You have other podcasts. No, you don't. You only listen to us. I know how that is. But all that stuff. People talking about end of the year, favorite games. So I figured, let's do that, right? I think the 3 of us. Sheldon's not here, obviously. But we have different video game tastes outside of VGC. So I think it'd be fun to talk about some of our other gaming highlights that we've personally had over the last year. Do you want to? Wow, that's. We should make a podcast together. We're on the same wavelength, Rowan. I'll go first.
If we were on the same wavelength, we wouldn't have said it at the same time.
We're too much on the same wavelength.
There you go. To a fault. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not going to branch out too much from what we've already talked about. I want to stick in the world of Nintendo for my first game.
Okay.
So to preface this, I'm referencing two things for my end of the game of the year discussion. Whatever. And it's going to be the Nintendo wrap up and the I almost said Spotify wrap up. The Steam wrap up, right? So most of my gaming is on Steam or Nintendo. I have a PS5, and I think I played a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one, this year, and that's it, because PS5 has been really upsetting. I'm sorry for all you Ragnarok fans. I have not touched God of War yet. But anyway.
All the like PS3 no games memes from when I was in high school are just like being recycled with a new number now. It's pretty great to see. It's like history. It's
almost depressing. But anyway, on Nintendo, my top 3 most played games, not in this order, were Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet, and then Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 came out this year, late in the year, kind of. Oh, actually, when did it come out? I don't know. But anyway, I love the game. Splatoon 3 is so much fun.
I didn't think about all Switch games. I'm booting mine up right now so I can see what my top 3 was.
You should.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I played a lot of Splatoon 3 when it came out. I played Splatoon 2 back in 2017 or whenever it came out. Played it some at launch and then kind of bounced off. Splatoon 3 is just better. I like it. So I'll be probably going back to a lot more. Great. Nintendo did a great thing with Splatoon to make a shooter that you don't have to be super good at shooters to play. Because if you just shoot, you are doing something for the team. Right? And then as far as like, I've heard this third party and I don't remember the sources, but like Splatoon is wicked popular as far as like Nintendo IP goes. And like it's cool because there isn't a main character. Like you have the whoever does the announcements, like the show Splatfest people, whatever. Not really a main character. It's neat because you get to play your own squid. You get to go be a squid kid. You get to shoot ink at other squid kids. You get to pop other squid kids with ink, and then you get to do it all over again. And the matches are super quick. They're super fast, and it is also riddled with online bugs. But we don't talk about that because it is not nearly as bad as Pokemon. Actually, they did fix it with one of the recent patches, and it's just like it's a 1 in 10 games maybe you get a disconnect issue from someone.
Yeah.
When you have 8 people,
that's not that crazy.
Yeah.
They can't handle 20-minute matches between 2 people on Pokemon, so that's honestly impressive.
It's pretty good though. And I've not noticed any issue with like lag or anything like that for a relatively fast-paced game. So I don't know. I think Splatoon 3 is great. There's a Splatfest this weekend. I want to play that. No, next weekend. I think it's the weekend of San Diego. But they do fun things. It's a very community-heavy game. So I think it's super worth picking up if you haven't done it already. Your turn.
Okay, on Nintendo. Okay, so I think I really only had 2 outside of Pokemon. So I never played the Kirby one. That's probably more of a you thing, honestly. I really wanted to.
Why is that not on my list? Where did that go? Because Forgotten Lands is great.
I could not tell you. So my only Nintendo game this year that apart from that wasn't Pokemon that I got really into was Bayo 3. Like Bayonetta 3 was so there was a whole bunch of drama over the voice actress, but like the game itself actually so much fun. Like it's kind of like Splatoon 3 too. Is like this was an amazing franchise and they did it again and better.
It's like Splatoon 3 in that they're both number 3 in there.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to like really innovate to keep the formula fresh, and so like it's anybody who hasn't played Bayonetta, it's Devil May Cry, it's God of War, it's old God of War, not new God of War.
Right.
It's like a hack and slash just kill everything in the room and move on to the boss at the end of it kind of thing.
You said before it's like a single player fighting game. Like
a little bit. Yeah, it's like there's a ton of combos you can learn, and you unlock new gear and each of them has like, and when I say gear in this case, it's like demons and their associated weapons. You're a witch with horrific proportions, so maybe a little overly sexualized, but that's kind of the point. And yeah, it's so much fun. And this time they added the ability. In the old games, the demons themselves were like, once you beat everything in the room, she'd summon a giant demon out of the hair. Her hair is her clothes, which is just a reason to make her mostly naked for half the scenes. But neither here nor there. The hair also summons the demons, and that would just be a cutscene where the demon comes out and like finishes off the thing you just beat up. But now you can just actually play with them. Like you could summon them, and they themselves have their own combos and moves and stuff. Where like she's helpless while they're summoned, but you control the demon.
Control them,
yeah. And
can't
they're
you
massive.
Like control them both at the same time in like a really, really hard way? Like really...
to some degree, you can like kind of like walk her. She has to continuously dance while the demons are out, which again. Maybe there's some reasoning for that.
Oh, and this is your favorite game of the year, Rowan.
This is my favorite Nintendo game of the year. It's actually it is a ton of fun. Like the whole point is that it's like hilariously over the top.
Right.
And I had a ton of fun with it. Like cinematically, it was amazing. And they, despite me complaining about how the Switch could handle Scarlet and Violet, like it was really impressive to see what they could pull off with that hardware in a game like this.
That makes sense.
You looking for Kirby?
Yeah, I'm trying to see like where Kirby is on this list. Oh, it's in March. That's why. It's weird. Their thing is I did not notice how their Nintendo thing was organized. I want to talk about Kirby. Kirby and the Forgotten Land was great. I did not expect it to be as good as it was when it. I mean, I was excited for it. Don't get me wrong, but when I actually played through it, me and my wife played through it together. It's a great multiplayer game, 2-player couch co-op type game.
Is there actually good co-op in it?
I thought so. It's super fun. Like the only.
It's not like Mario Galaxy where like one person's Mario and one person is a cursor.
No, you're not. You're more than a cursor. You this player 2 unfortunately can only play Bandana Waddle Dee, which is fine because Bandana Waddle Dee does have like moves and stuff that Kirby doesn't have because they don't have Spear Kirby in this game. But then also you have Kirby who can just have all of his powers, right? So take it as you will. And I think if I remember correctly, because again that was back in March. The camera centers on Kirby, not centers, but like if Kirby moves and Waddle Dee goes too far away, Waddle Dee goes to Kirby. I think it's always that direction. So Kirby is the main character, which is also fun to just mess with your couch co-op partner. It's super fun though, very interesting, and it's hard. Like there is some difficulty to the game that was a little shocking when we got to, like the end bosses for that game, even for Kirby. Because again, Kirby was made to be an easier Mario. Right. That's Kirby's history. So it's really cool to see this kind of slightly new take on the game.
What if Mario could fly?
And suck up his enemies instead of just stomp on them. And take their power. I think my only complaint when I was playing through the game was that there was not enough copy abilities because I love Kirby's copy abilities. That's Kirby's whole thing. But the way you like leveled them up, made them better was it kind of made up for it.
And we're just sticking to the theme of Nintendo discovering that open world is a thing, right? Kind
of, yeah. Well, this isn't so. It's not open world. It's closer to like. I want to say like how Odyssey was.
That was exactly the comparison I was thinking. Okay.
But they're contained levels, right? So you're kind of like constantly going through new levels each time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess for Kirby, that's a step up from a literal 2D side scroller, right?
Yes, that's very true. This is the first 3D Kirby of this at all. They've had like 2.5D kind of, but this is really
unless you count Air Ride, which was
a
vital part of my childhood
and super fun. Yes, that is one of the games I do want to emulate on my Steam Deck eventually. Anyway, but yeah, so Kirby and the Forgotten Land, super great, love it. And I think that wraps me up for Nintendo, except for I do have 3+ years of play. Pokemon Shield, wow. Animal Crossing, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
So
All
okay,
good games.
before I get to my game of the year, which is going to be super unsurprising, so not like to build that up, but this year so fighting games are very much my thing. But as far as like traditional fighters, not a lot really came out. Like King of Fighters 15 came out, and it just kind of like flew under the radar. Nobody really got super into it. And like there was a game called DNF Duel, which was based on like apparently a really big MMO, and they turned it into a fighting game, but it was only a big MMO in Korea. So like it didn't really take off internationally either. So the closest thing to a fighting game that I really got into this year and then eventually dropped because it just kind of fell out was Multiverses.
We never played that. We threatened to play it together and never did.
It's not too late. It'll be better now because I haven't played it in months, so I won't combo you guys around anymore. But
did it die? Did it fall off?
It fell off aggressively. Yeah. So it was. I think it was the fastest selling fighting game ever. Okay, really? So anybody who doesn't know what Multiverses is, it was a Warner Bros. Smash Bros. Knockoff.
Yep.
Like you could play as like DC heroes and Looney Tunes and Scooby-Doo characters and all kinds of nonsense. I think after I stopped playing, they added in like the Gremlins. It was
really?
Any old WB property they could get their hands on, and they went super into like the meme culture with it. Like Shaggy wasn't Shaggy; he was a Super Saiyan because of all the Ultra Instinct memes. Like it was cute, and it was Smash with rollback netcode and actual matchmaking, and that was pretty sick. And it was 2v2 focused, which I didn't actually love, but I ended up just only playing 2v2 because that was clearly what the game was balanced around. And yeah, it had a massive launch, and me and my buddies were playing it for like probably a month or two after it launched, and then it just suddenly dropped off. Like the devs they clearly launched it expecting it to be kind of a beta, and then it exploded beyond their wildest dreams, and they couldn't handle it.
Characters on this.
They really do.
They have
Steven Universe stuff. Like
Steven Universe makes a degree of sense because maybe Gizmo and Stripe, I think, are Gremlins.
Yeah.
Black Adam, that's topical. Marvin the Martian.
That's been at it since I played. Yeah, it's Looney Tunes.
Rick and Morty, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I knew LeBron was a very interesting character.
LeBron James was a fighting game character.
That's wild. Velma, Arya Stark, Batman, Bugs, Harley Quinn. Okay.
Yeah, I was a Superman main for a bit because you could like fly off the stage and carry people into the blast zone. It was pretty fun.
Oh, that's rude.
It was rather rude. People got quite angry with me on voice chat. It was great. It was the whole point. But yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was, if nothing else, it proved that platform fighters can be real fighters. Like there's a whole is Smash a party game thing, and people get over defensive about it, and people get overly offensive about it too, actually. But it is
nerds,
who cares,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Nerds are weird about stuff. But like it was super fun. You could actually get competitive about it. It was at Evo. Like people took it seriously. Yep. For a little bit. So I really hope that just opens the doors to more. People call them Smash clones, but it's not Smash might have been the first to the genre, but that was over 20 years ago. It's just a genre now. Like there was a Nickelodeon one in 2021, which was also a lot of fun until they realized that they couldn't really support the player base.
Interesting. Yeah. I did kind of forget about Multiverses. I had not hear. I listened to a handful of like Game of the Year and end of stuff, like review stuff.
I think it did win Fighting Game of the Year.
I did it in Game Awards.
Game Awards, yeah.
That might have been actually.
It didn't have like I was saying, it didn't have a ton of big competition, but yeah, sure. I think it did win.
Interesting. This is the first departure from Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know how many non-Nintendo games you have.
Oh my gosh.
I got one more.
Okay. I'm looking through my Steam stuff because I was
about to start timing you. There's a stopwatch on my phone.
Oh, I should have. Maybe I'll. No, I'm too lazy. I'm not gonna put a timer for that in the video. Okay, I have a lot from Steam that I played. Dinkum is super fun. Crafting. Animal Crossing Stardew Valley in Australia. So everything's trying to kill you. Super fun, super cute. Still in early access. Still being updated. Cute little community. Love it. Cult of the Lamb, other cute game in different direction, but very cool mashup of genres.
Yeah, there were a lot of cool indie games that I wanted to play this year, and I just didn't. Like Stray looked so much fun too.
I've heard things about Stray. I've heard that the first 2 hours of Stray are fantastic because you just play a cat, and then after that it changes entirely and is a different game.
Interesting. I thought the whole point was that I was playing a cat.
Well, I think you're still a cat, but like the first 2 hours you're a cat doing cat things, which is cool. And then like I think the game actually starts 2 hours in, and then it is completely different. Yeah. I've not played it. I still kind of want to.
Because I heard it has like a weird futuristic dystopia save the world kind of thing.
Because I think you're a cat living amongst robots, and you have to like help the robots, and that's what happens in that 2-ish hour mark, and it's different. I don't know.
Anyway, I wanted to play those first 2 hours, I think.
The first 2 hours, I think, is what people are like, oh, this is so cool. Sonic Frontiers was shockingly okay.
Did you actually play it?
Yes.
I gotta be like, Sonic Adventure 2 and 1 were like vital parts of my childhood.
Same.
And I think I tried Heroes after that, and I hated it. And then every Sonic game afterwards was just garbage. And so I was like, I'm not gonna hurt myself anymore.
Heroes was, I will go on the record to say, okay.
I'm willing to. You're right. So Heroes was okay. It was not as good as the first two. I was like, that's sad. No. Maybe the next one will be better. And I think it was the one where he turns into a werehog. And I was like, you know what? We're done. We're done. I'm over this franchise now.
Was less than okay. Sonic Frontiers was interesting. I didn't finish it. I'm on the second zone of 5.
Yet another classic franchise goes open world.
Yes. And it's interesting, like the open world feeling is interesting. The environment is, I don't want to say bad, but it's weird because
it seems like weird and disjointed. Like you have a big open plains, like Xenoblade looking background, but then there's like random checkerboards and loop-de-loops and springs.
That's exactly it. It's like they took like, they had an open world they built, and their open world, like before Sonic gets there, is very pretty, and then Sonic gets there, and then suddenly Sonic levels appear just sporadically through the open world, which I think and so the first one's the plains, right? Whatever, forest area, and it's really pretty to run through when it's empty. And then after you beat it, it's cool because you have a almost cohesive Sonic level from one end to the other. So it's kind of neat. But in the in-between, it's weird because you just have sporadic Sonic stuff.
What platform are you playing on?
Steam.
Okay, so PC.
Yeah, so PC.
I heard that the Switch one was really rough.
I would not play that game on Switch.
Yeah.
No. I recently it got, I think, verified for Steam Deck, so I tried it on Steam Deck and it was okay. A couple of settings I had to change for that because it was really weird looking. But it played fine. Then I just forgot everything. Forgot how to play because it's been a couple months, or a month, whatever. I don't know when it came out. I played it the weekend it came out. I streamed it and then I stopped. Because Pokemon was like right around the corner. But it's cool. Like I would definitely, I want to go back to that game. And then, like so many other people, I played Elden Ring. And then
I assume that's your game of the year.
You know, I don't know.
You gotta choose one. I'm not letting us hang up until you choose a game of the year.
Elden Ring, I think, is the game of the year.
I'd agree with that.
Because Elden Ring
I only played it at a buddy's house, but I have to. It's not my cup of tea, but I have to give it up. It like clearly kind of changed things.
Soulsborne games, From Software games, has like they've never clicked with me, ever. I wanted so bad to make Elden Ring work that I learned how to play a FromSoft game to play Elden Ring. I streamed this for like 5 weeks back when I was streaming more regularly.
I assume you enjoyed yourself then.
I did. No, yeah. I'm not okay. not crapping on the game at all. The game was great, gorgeous game. After it clicked and I could kind of play it, I loved it. I think the build I was going for was not the build I should have. I was going very magey because I've heard it was easier, but I think once I understood how to play, it wasn't clicking right. I did kind of fall off Elden Ring, and I really want to pick it back up.
But like the skill's gone.
Oh yeah, I'm super rusty. I couldn't do it again. But for my game of the year, I don't know. I don't know.
Let's say your non-Pokemon game of the year. I don't know if you would make Scarlet or Violet or Arceus your game, but
Not Arceus.
Cross those off the list.
Yeah. I mean, I like Scarlet and Violet. I think Scarlet and Violet was a great single player experience, as we said before. Scratching off the list though, I'd have to, honestly, the game that this is not the game I played. 28. Where's my list? Hold on. The game I've played the most this year is something. Where's this? Oh, it might actually be Dinkum. That's pretty funny. That's just a game I play on Steam Deck a lot. The top 3 I've played most are 4: Dinkum, New World, Cult of the Lamb, and then Elden Ring, which is pretty funny.
Is New World up there? Or
it's not this year,
Okay.
so I'm not gonna claim that. That was last year. I do like New World. I haven't played it in a hot minute though. I don't know. Games are good. I'm just gonna go on the record and say games are good.
All right.
Yeah, there's no good. This actually is not that easy to read. Dang it, Steam. That's fine. But nonetheless, games are good. And I think all the games we've mentioned are worth looking at a little bit.
I think you kind of backed off of choosing one, but that's okay.
What are you talking about? No, I didn't.
It's fine because my game of the year is also a cop out.
What is it?
Yeah, so and it is backed up a little bit with awards, but the new expansion for Guild Wars this year actually won. It got the best. It got PC Gamer's best. I think they called it the best ongoing game, but it's effectively their best MMO award because that's what that means, like live service game.
Sure.
So 10th anniversary MMO I play. The 2 biggest MMOs in the world are World of Warcraft, obviously, and Final Fantasy 14. Had a huge resurgence a couple years back and has been going really strong. And Guild Wars has always been kind of nestled in that number 3 spot. It gets overtaken by new MMOs like New World, like Black Desert Online, that kind of thing, and then those die, and it takes number 3 back again. This year they released the 3rd expansion, End of Dragons, and it like closed up the story that had been going on for a decade. They announced when the expansion came out back in like March or April that they had doubled their player base since the last expansion came out.
Really? Cool.
Once it sold. And then as of the end of the year, they said that they now had gained more players since the expansion dropped than when they went free to play years back. Like it used to be when they were dropped in 2012, you had to pay $60 to even play the game. Right. And then I think in 2014 or 15, they're like, you can play the base game for free and you just have to buy expansion packs. And that was when they got a huge influx of players, and they got more since the latest expansion than when they made the game free, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, it won best MMO. Like World of Warcraft's new expansion this year is just the whole feature was that they were copying a mount that Guild Wars had like for a year at this point. Like
when you said that, I forget if you said it on a previous episode or just before after recording.
Like, it sounds like I'm being it sounds like I'm being a salty fanboy on this. Like compare the video. It looks like they literally lifted the animation like frame for frame. It's kind of wild.
That's interesting.
But
I do want to see that.
But yeah, no, it's I've always been like on and off with it. That's kind of like half the appeal is that you never it's not like WoW where when an expansion comes out you need to get 10 more levels.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Okay.
A little bit. Because when we record and we miss our weekend recording date, we always in fact, the last episode, you left because you had to go raid in Guild Wars.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, I mean,
So
I never used to
on
be
and off.
this is my on phase. The past year.
Very okay.
Yeah. Well,
on.
This is the reason why this is my game of the year is because it made me go on.
Fair
Again,
enough.
this is a 10-year-old game.
Right.
It came out when I was a sophomore in college, and I'm now a married 30-year-old with a house. Like.
Oh, that is how time works, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, and I spent like multiple years not playing it, and then I came back. And the cool thing about it is that unlike there's no gear treadmill. Like when a new expansion for WoW comes out,
Right.
they add 10 levels to the game and all your gear is now worthless because the new gear is for people 10 levels higher than you. With Guild Wars, if you have max level gear, it will be max level forever. And it also means that old content is still challenging. It because you aren't just stronger than it now. So yeah, you can just like decide, okay, I'm bored with this for a while. I'm gonna put this down and I'll come back when they've made new stuff. And that's kind of
I didn't realize that's how the gear score system worked in Guild Wars. That's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, it's like nice. It's one of those things that like respects your time, but it almost respects it too much because it then means that you don't get people who like can just sink their entire lives into it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. It's very skill based. It's actually very Souls like in the gameplay as well, because the whole combat system is not based around grinding. It's based around, can you dodge the things coming at you with specific timing, and it's all like iframe dodge rolls.
I do remember that it is more action based than tab. It's not tab combat like WoW is.
Yeah, you can tab target. It won't do well for you, but like yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyway, yeah, that's my game of the year. It has eaten probably it's the only franchise that can eat as much of my time as Pokemon can. So
yeah, so that's my problem, right? I can't pick a game of the year, really pick a game of the year, because I just don't have a game aside from Pokemon that I'm like, I will always go back to this franchise. For me,
I'm honestly jealous of you a little bit though, because you have like you end up just trying all these things, whereas my backlog is massive, and I'm just really deep on like a handful of things.
I also have a massive backlog. I think I need to find a 25th hour in the day so that I can just play video games more. That's what it feels like. And I think that's fine.
You can.
I'm
I don't know if you've seen that meme where they have like the building blocks making up their time of the day, and they're just like pulling out the sleep blocks so they can add another block of video games. Yeah,
that's how it should work, right? But I need my beauty of sleep. You've seen me. No, but I'm notorious. For those of you who watch my streams and whatnot, that I never finish games. I don't finish games. The games that I finished this year, I absolutely love. So that's Call to the Lamb. That's for the Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I mean, that's Pokemon, obviously. Some games you can't finish, like Sea of Thieves or New World. What else?
This means you're not trying hard enough if you can't finish an MMO.
Okay, Mr. Grinds.
Yeah, I haven't finished Guild Wars. I still need more legendaries, so that's fine.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's just a handful. There's a handful of games. I mean, there's 24 games on this list that I haven't even mentioned this episode that I want to go back and play at some point, or look at, or whatever, or play more of. But there's a bunch. So that's the downside of not trying to finish an MMO in your case. So I don't know, that's game of the year. That's our end of your episode, I think, pretty much at this point.
Yeah, I hit an hour. I kind of didn't notice it. I was worried about it like 20 minutes in. I was like, oh, never mind, we're good.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, obviously we have it would have gone longer if Sheldon was here. Yeah. We have all of his input too, which I don't know what Sheldon plays. I'm not going to try and pick his game of the year because I don't remember what he plays a lot of when he's not playing Pokemon. Which right now I think he's just playing Pokemon. But that's all a different thing. I'm trying to get my end of episode script up because I forgot to get that up before. Is there anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. I may not be here for next week's episode if San Diego travel butts up into it, but I'll let y'all know how it goes.
When are you traveling for San Diego?
Not till Friday. If we record earlier, then that'll be fine.
We normally do. This is just a weird week. We're gonna record in like 4 days, not even at this point, right? So, okay. And I have no idea what next week will be. Oh, I do have an idea of what next week will be. It is the other half of what I thought this episode could be, which is looking forward in 2023 to what we want to do with the channel. What we expect from Pokemon, the regionals, the worlds, the blah, 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 all that stuff.
And speaking of, just to like quick preview of that, the third Battle Corner, the first one in Scarlet and Violet, signups are open. We'll be starting that in January. If you would like to try your luck at Best of 3 Open Team Sheet Series 1, Scarlet and Violet, just come to the Discord. There should be a sign-up link right there. And get ready to play across the month. You can schedule your matches whenever you like. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yep, that was a lot of words to describe the format of this series, but it's true. So yeah, sign up. I'll put a link down below as well. But the easiest place to find it is going to be on our Twitter and in our Discord. So make sure you check those out. So that is Battle Corner. Yes. Get some practice for those best of threes. Need for regionals coming up.
Yep.
It's there. Actually, depending on how timing goes, yeah, this is going to pretty much fill the gap between San Diego and Orlando. So get in there. But I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to RobKTA and Game Chops for the use of our theme song, Goldenrod Game Corner, off the Ultraball album. I got it in one this time. Fantastic. I've been Harrison. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter. I don't know know when I'm going to stream next, so you can find me on Twitter at Ixen, _Ixen, and YouTube and Twitch and everything else too. But that's me. That's where I live. Where do you live? Where can people find you?
Twitter, Rowan W Hall, YouTube, Rowan Hall. I'm probably not publishing anything until I go to this regional, and then we'll see. Either team report if I do well, start making nonsense videos about like whatever, like random stuff I want to put up if I don't do well. So yeah, figure it out.
There you go. That makes sense. We'll see what the fate holds. Sheldon's stuff is down below. I'm not gonna try and say that because we know how that goes. But together we've been the Game Corner. You can find us at Game Corner VGC on Twitter. You can find our Discord down below. Please join. Let's have some fun between episodes. Let's get that Battle Corner going. Let's do some showdown practice, whatever y'all want. We're trying to build the Discord to be good and useful. But we'll get there. Our Patreon's down below as well if you'd like to support us in that way. We would greatly appreciate it. Everything we get from that goes right back into the podcast in some way, shape, or form. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify, the opposite of the one you're listening to now. The links are all down below as well. I've exhausted my list, but I know there's more things to say. Comment your game of the year down below, both either on YouTube or Spotify. It has a commenting thing that I'll have to make sure I change before I publish this episode. I think that's it. So until next time, press start and game on. Bye. I just go off and on to close the episode, don't I? I love it.
Honestly, I rarely make it to the full end of a podcast, so I don't know if anybody else does.
Well, the thing is I put moments just like this one after the credits of the podcast when we have it, because I have not stopped recording yet.
Yeah, I did notice that. Okay.
So I will now.